everyone, welcome back. So today I thought I would do a different video. It's the first time that I do a video like this. But I thought since many of us are going back to college or starting a new program, we could actually use some of these tips that I have. So we will talk about some organizing tools that has helped me in the past or that are new to me but I've been using for a couple of months now. Now university hasn't started yet, but I've already been using some of them for to control my budget or to organize my everyday life since I was working up until a few days ago. Okay, so let's get into it. The first organization app that I will share, most of you already know and already use, is to have a calendar. So it could be a Google Calendar, an Outlook calendar, depending on what your email is and what you use the most or what you like the most. I actually used both. I used to have only a Google Calendar since I mostly had Gmail accounts, but the university that I will start now actually has an Outlook email, and the university program for all my courses was in an Outlook calendar. So it was easier to sync those, and I started to use the Outlook calendar ever since. It took some time to get familiar with it and know how to use it exactly. But once you also download it on your phone and you have it both on your computer and your phone, it gets way easier to control and to view your day or view your month. So my tip is, or I would say in general, to have a calendar. I know that many of you may have one but not actually use it or use it for only some things. But I think it's important to stick with one. If you have many email accounts, so many calendars that are created, you can sync all of them into one. Tip number one is to have a note taking app. Many of you I know may be using a notepad or to like post it or written notes, but I think the most efficient way is to have one app in your phone and your computer. So that way, wherever you are, you will be taking notes and everything will be automatically synced. The best one for me is this one up here, and I have it both on my phone and on my laptop. And I also have this one for quicker notes on my phone. You can create different pages and you can categorize your notes, whether it's university things, budget, work things, and then you can have them in your phone screen. Or some of them also have an option where you can basically make a note wherever you are in your phone without having to go to your front page or to specifically open the app, the note taking app. And I think that was also really useful. The only problem with me is that it was a Google one, and since I decided to switch to Outlook to sync everything there, it didn't work for me. But if you're someone that writes on the go or has to keep notes, check different things, have many things on their mind, writing it down, it's the best solution. And having a note taking app, the same one on your phone and your computer, will be a lifesaver. Tip number three is to have a yearly view calendar. So it can be Google Calendar, but the easiest for me is to create an Excel page where I had to make it myself, but there are many online stores that you can pay and download ready like Excel files for this reason. Having a yearly view can help you so much, whether it's in university or work or budgeting. You can see your whole year and you can plan your whole year. And maybe you're thinking, well, I don't know what will happen. I'm still figuring things out. Maybe I'll have a job then, maybe I won't. These, all of those thoughts and all of those things can put in your yearly view calendar. So you can keep those things in mind. Maybe you have more free days that you thought, It's easier to break down bigger projects, whether it's studying, it's an exam, or if it's a business project or YouTube project. It's easier to break it down and to organize not only your day or your week, but your whole year. Also, having a yearly view will help you to set your goals right. So you can have a big goal and then break it down, or you can actually view how you will be at the end of this year, how many workouts you will have done, how many vacations you can take, how many books you can read. I know it might sound a bit too much, but personally, it takes a lot of the thinking, like thinking process out of my brain. It helps me personally to write everything down, to see my whole year, and it makes me way less anxious about having to plan things and fit things, because basically you can have all the big important events in your life already in a visual way, and then you can plan your whole year around it without missing things, without any surprises. Obviously, things can change last minute, but I think at the start of the academic year and then at the start of the calendar year, uh, these are the 2 points where you can actually evaluate your previous year and your next year. And it doesn't have to be a tool to judge yourself. It doesn't matter where you start, but you can set more doable and clearer goals for the end of your academic year and then for the end of your year as in 2024. Okay, and my fourth tip, uh, you can actually use the same app. You can use an Excel file or a note taking app or even a physical notebook. But budgeting is extremely important. Whether you have a stable job, whether you have many income streams, whether you're a student and you get funded by scholarship or your parents, uh, organizing your budget, prioritizing your rent and your bills is obviously really important, and it will help you to not have any really bad surprises down the road, especially if you don't have a stable income or if you don't have many income streams. It can feel either really restrictive if you haven't planned it down, like the money that you will spend. It can get really overwhelming if you don't really know how your budgeting plan will be. So doesn't matter if you have big income, small one, if you spend a lot, if you are in a place to save. In general, controlling your budget in any form that it's easier for you, I think is extremely important, and it's the best time to start is as soon as possible. In my experience, this year was the first year where I really uh, controlled my budget. I would write, I used a physical notebook up until a few months ago, where I would write my total, my expenses, my incomes, and then the total that I would have left of each month. And you can set goals and kind of keep in mind in what department you have some extra cash to spend there, or in what department you have to save a bit more, or if you know that this month you will have some big expenses. For example, I'm moving in order to start my master's now, so I knew that this month, for example, I will have to pay for some certain things that will cost me more. So I know that the previous months or the next month, I have to control my budget a bit more so that I won't spend as much money, since I spent more than I had originally planned the month before. Now, this, like I said, can be done either in a physical notebook or a note taking app, although that it's more like on the go. I would strongly recommend to create another Excel file the same way that you had for the yearly calendar, yearly view, to have another one for budgeting. And again, there are many sites online where you can download them. I made it myself because I was so used to my notebook planning method that I wanted it to be kind of similar because it was easier for me. But if you're starting from scratch, if you haven't kept a notebook like that before or had a budgeting system before, there are many inspirations online. You can just Google like budgeting or notebook budget or planner, and you will see many recommendations for many different ways. My tip in that field is to first try as many as possible and do not force yourself to stick to a certain one. Everyone's brain works in a different way. The way that I like to see my budget may not necessarily be the same way that you like to see yours, or maybe there are aspects that make its planning method different for you. So I would suggest maybe each month at first, try a different one until you find one that clicks for you. And maybe then, if you don't want to pay for an Excel file, try some of them on paper, and maybe then uh, take the time and the energy to create your own Excel file, because it will take time, especially if you're not familiar with the platform. It could take some time. Maybe you have to look at some guided YouTube videos online to be able to make like the boxes and the categories and the files. Okay, guys, so these were my organization apps and tips that I had for you. I hope you find them useful and I hope you have a great year. Bye.